Hello Deadheads, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome for the first time, new Deadheads. Today, I've been spending the entire weekend with this guy, the Gameforce Ace. I did the unboxing and first impressions, and now I've had 48 hours to play this and put it through its paces, and we're going to do a full review. But let me give you a quick preview. Unless you are someone that has a lot of technical expertise and likes to tinker, this isn't ready. This handheld is not for you. So for anyone who just wants pick up and play, order and play, unfortunately this guy's not it right now. However, for those of you who stick around and are interested in what this thing can actually do if you have a little technical know-how, well, we'll discuss that in our full review. Anyways, we're going to be back here in a second. Please leave us some comments. Let us know what you're thinking. Please give me any criticism. I enjoy it. I'm trying to make the channel as best as I can. I love the feedback you guys are giving me. I love when you're correcting me. Like I mentioned that this was Vita sticks. It's actually Switch sticks. So thank you for pointing that out. And please hit that like button, subscribe so we continue to grow. We're gaining momentum and I really like how the community is growing. But anyways, let's dive into this review and let's see just how bad this promise Unfulfilled is. And we'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, guys. So for those of you who want to see, what I was able to do with this, I'm going to have some gameplay footage here to show you guys. I want to focus on the chip that's in here. This is the Rockchip RK3588S because the chipset was what I was most interested in when I pre-ordered this. I did take a gamble on this, pre-ordering this way back in September, along with many other people who are receiving this unit now. And I think that maybe the excitement and the rush to get this thing out, this is why we're seeing the condition of this handheld as it is now. So I do want to emphasize that the chip in here, from what I've been able to tweak this thing and fix this thing and do some little settings, is impressive. So we have a lot to look forward to with this chip. I'd like to see Anbernic. I wish they would have used this chip in the 556. I mean, I haven't gotten the T810 yet, but this chip is really impressed me. Now that being said, there's a lot of reasons why you should not buy this right now. First of all, my unit came with the L2 trigger not working at all, okay? So it didn't work. A lot of people have had where the L trigger was very sensitive and the R wasn't. So there obviously was some QC issues going on. In a minute, I'm going to show you guys the little video where I did open this up and I was able to fix the L2. But again, for a product that is at retail, no, shouldn't happen. So again, I understand this is a small outfit and I want to cheer them on. I want to see them succeed. So I want to support them, but at the same time, I have to be real with my viewers. Deadheads, this is just not ready yet. So, but I did get to fix that. Again, if you have technical know-how, there's a lot of things you can do. In the Discord, a lot of people are working together to adjust this unit and to give it some of the stuff it should have had from the beginning. The speaker out of phase, there's a fix for that. And then, of course, the Jellos team is working on bringing software that's going to be really good, I hope, for the future. But let's just talk a little bit about some of the things that just are not very favorable about this. Not that I want to dwell on the negative, but of course a lot of people look forward to this, and it is at a pretty good weight. It comes in at 350 grams, so it's pretty nice. I will give them credit for the slab style, the Switch Lite sort of copy of it, the thinness of it. You can see our opening box for the measurements, but I do like the overall quality of where they're going with this. So I think they're in a good place with that. But that being said, 5.5 inches, that's a good place to be. I don't know, maybe, you know, Retroid's sitting at 4.7 inches. We're going to get the RG556 in. It's also at 5.5 inches, and we'll kind of see where that falls. Your Nintendo Switch, the original is at 6.2 inches, and then your OLED's at 7 inches. So we have a wide range of sizing here, but I think I like this 5.5 on the Air Pro. I'm sorry, on the Pocket Air from Ioneo. I love that 5.5 inch screen. So 5.5 inches is a pretty good size screen for me. It does have the micro HDMI out, and it has a USB Type-C. I have not tested that to see if video out will go over it, although in the Discord they mentioned that it should be working. The speakers are out of phase and they don't sound really good. There is a fix for it, like I said, but it's just kind of unfortunate that it came through like that. It does also has Wi-Fi 5 and Bluetooth 4.2. So it's 2024. This thing was supposed to be out in 2023. So really, you know, it just seems like they should have used a different chipset there, especially since we have the competitors doing that as well. It does have the fan, the intake fan, but there's no way to control it right now. It is a silent active cooling fan, but we don't know how loud it's going to be. We can't really control it. And because of the issue with the SD card, you know, it's hard to get games on here. You could, you know, if you have the 256 gig internal, you could hook it up and move your games that way. But because right now the micro SD card is not allowing anything except FAT32, then we're not going to be able to actually load any games that are bigger than 4 gigs onto this unit. Shout out to Joey from Joey's Retro Handhelds for teaching me that. So that is the deal. If you read online, I didn't understand. It will accept the cards that are bigger than 4 gigs. It's just not going to let you put anything on it, or if you have something on it that is bigger than 4 gigs, it's not going to read it. So that's a real negative right there right now. It is a 16:9 screen, 1920 by 1080p, and it's a 400 ppi pixel density. That's great, but guess what? Here we go again with another weird thing. It has a refresh rate of 55 hertz or 53 hertz for some people. What is that about? I mean, if you're going to consider, you know, playing PAL, you know, ROMs, maybe that's a good thing. But really, again, this thing should not be out in the wild like this for retail with a 55 hertz refresh rate. It is very bright. I think it's really bright on the screen. I really like that. Some people have said it's a little too bright, but for me and my taste, I like it. I think it looks really good. The buttons, I don't have a real particular problem with any of the buttons. I really have come to like this D-pad. I like the function button that's here, the home button. You got your start and select, your A, B, X, Y. I like these sticks. And again, now that I have all of this working, these seem to be fine. But again, I just shouldn't have had to have gone in here and adjust this to get it working. So again, just another negative for a product that is released for it. They are Hall-based sensors and Hall-based joysticks, so there are some people like me that have had some issues with PS2 games with it looking like it's having some drift, even though it's not supposed to. That is actually, I think, a software issue, because I didn't have that happen on Gamecube or other lower-end emulators. So I did finally figure out that I could get that adjusted by changing changing the dead zone for it. But again, this is something that shouldn't really have, you know, been needed to be done in order to actually have this come out and play. Anybody that's looking at purchasing this is obviously wanting to play PS2, GameCube, and even Switch. So again, being limited and having only, you know, 4 gigs on your micro SD card, having an NVMe slot that doesn't work right now, and having, you know, these triggers that aren't, you know, calibrated, it's just too much for me to recommend this handheld at this time. It is Android 13, but it didn't come with Google Play Store. I'm not opposed to that necessarily, but it should be an option at least to add the Google Play Store. That's something that can be fixed in software in the future, so certainly can get better for it. It's really strange, you know, that this this unit has such potential, and yet again it's a promise unfulfilled. According to Antutu benchmark, this chipset is in the 600,000 to 620,000 range. So again, as you see when I play some footage, we did get Jack 3 running on the PS2 and it ran really well. So again, this Rockchip RK3588S is no slouch. It's just inside of some hardware that was not very good quality control and some software that's just horrible right now. But these are things that can definitely be fixed. They can make sure they do better quality control for future purchases. The community can help do custom firmware to make the software better. And again, this chip is in here, so it holds a lot of promise in the future. Again, the POW Kitty RGB 10 Max 3 Pro also held a lot of hope, and that has just not seen any development or really gotten to where it can be. So I don't know if this particular machine is going to get that support, but we'll see in the future. But let's go on and look. I want to show you how I opened this up and fixed my trigger to actually getting it working. Then we'll show you some gameplay footage and we'll come back and wrap things up. And we'll be right back, Deadheads. Okay, so we have it open, and just a quick look on the inside. And it's really clean looking. It does have the 3700 milliamp battery. There's two of these in there stacked on each other, so that's how they come up with the 7400. So I had to adjust the screw tightness on the back, and you can see now my L2 is working. So we do have L2 working. I had to go in and adjust the screw right here. I just had to untighten it a little bit. It was tightened a little too much. And of course, this is a manufacturing process of quality control. This one probably just got through without doing it. I imagine that they don't have the best QC yet. This is a very small company, so again, if you know what you're getting, then fine. But if you're looking for something more like Retroid that is polished and out of the box, this is not the unit. But I do want to show that I was able to get that fixed, and I think that I'm going to do some testing and see if I can get them both at about the same torque so that I can have both of them running at the same. So that's accomplished. Okay, Deadheads, so we finally got Jack 3 working, so, or I should say loaded. So let's see what this little guy is going to do. I'm going to just use basic settings here. Let's put it at enable our, let's go back and make sure our patch codes, we're going to fast boot, our graphics. We're going to use Vulkan. We'll do 1.25 there. No, none of that. Regular aspect ratio, smooth, VSync. We'll do the shader. We're going to resize the display. And this is the promise unfulfilled, because this chip is just playing. It's playing Jack 3. You saw that no matter what kind of tinkering I did with the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro on the Dimensity, I could not get this working. Now again, this is only one single PS2 game, but look at this. And let me zoom in so you can see the frame rate here. Make it clear. Getting good frame rate. We're at 800 by 560. Looks great, and Jack 3 is playing. And with my newly working L2, it's playing. But again, this is not how this should have been. This should have been out of the box working in a lot of other areas. But I did want to show that there is still a great promise for this chip, and I look forward to more manufacturers, or to be fair to Gameforce, them correcting and fixing a lot of this before this is really ready for mass audience. But let's stop here and let's take a look at some GameCube footage and we'll be right back. So how about some Soul Calibur 2 on GameCube? And we're running this at a 2x. Just a little bit, it usually has a little bit of slowdown when I first do it. Again, we're running at 2x here, so this looks pretty good. It's playing pretty smooth, it sounds okay. As I try to come back here at the end. Oh, and I fell off. So yeah, Soul Calibur 2 is playing just as good as it did on the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. Pretty similar to that. So again, I would say that this chipset is going to run GameCube games very good. Definitely in the same realm as the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. Maybe not up there with the Odin 2, I'm not sure yet. We'll need to do a lot more testing. But again, we really need a different unit. This one's just not ready, unfortunately. But wanted to show you a little bit of GameCube. And now let's go on and let me show you a little bit of 3DS and we'll be right back. And so we have a little bit of Citra here, 3DS. And this looks really good. This is running 3DS really well. I really love this fighting series, the Dead or Alive Dimensions. It definitely looks good and it's running really well. It's a little bit loud. As I mentioned earlier, the sound on this thing is just crap. It's got really poor sound. It probably is out of phase. I did not attempt to fix that. But yeah, this is pretty good looking. Running this at a 2x resolution here and playing some 3DS. Alright guys, we'll be back here with our final thoughts. Okay, Deadheads, so let's get a summary here of the Gameforce Ace. So what I like about the Gameforce Ace, the overall form factor and size, it sits at 5.5 inches with a bright screen and a switch-like shell. I think that they did a good job with making this handheld feel nice in the hands. I like the mold and shape. I'm glad they put the logo on the back and listened. I think that it is a good size. It's not overly heavy, so I do like that about this unit. I love so far the promise of the Rockchip 3588S. It's showing great signs of becoming the chipset for price to performance. I also like that for me particularly and some of the other early adopters, we got early bird pricing of $159. So I did get it at a price that makes overlooking these flaws a bit more palatable. That being said, the current unit that I am reviewing would be $269. Along with the $229 model. So we're still pretty far off there from it. Now, what about I don't like? Well, I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but there's quite a bit here that's just not ready for the market. First of all, the technical issues. The implementation of Android 13 is incomplete and very frustrating. We have a lack of Google support in there. Google Play Services is not working. We don't have the Google Store in there. We can use and sideload from the web, but it's just kind of not very easy and really, again, not something that anybody who wants to pick up and play is going to want to mess with. All the hardware issues, the hardware quality control is lacking. This is something that can be fixed by them as they go forward and they produce units. But the NVMe not recognizing the M.2, the SD card not allowing anything but FAT32, limiting, you know, what kind of size games you can put on your card, and the calibrations of the trigger and buttons not working at all. These are just things that really are, hopefully again, will be better controlled through QC as these units come out, but really they shouldn't happen. The current pricing above market. Right now, your $199 Retroid Pocket 4 Pro, your $199 Pimax Portal Retro, those offer better price or performance than, you know, $269 for this new fancy chip. and a steep learning curve. Right now in its current form, unless you experience and know how to tinker with hardware, it's just a pass. So again, I really like to support the small guys. I want to cheer this team on. I would like to remind, the viewers here, the deadheads, that at one point Retroid put out really trash. Anbernic, some of their first, units were just horrible. So please keep in mind that, and I'm doing this to encourage them to do better. I hope they take this feedback and they go with it, improve it. That'll show us if this is a company that's going to really grow and become something we're going to keep an eye on. But I do think, deadheads, let's keep an eye on future implementations of this chipset. There's been something called the TJD80 that has been announced with the 3588S also, although they launched a Windows handheld that was a train wreck. So again, really looking for someone like Ioneo or Anbernic or Powkitty even, that has a lot more experience to kind of put one of these out. Anyways, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this rather long and lengthy review. I wanted to give you guys the rundown and let you know that for most of you, this is a hard pass right now. Hopefully it'll get better in the future. But leave us a comment and let us know what you're thinking. Let us know if you see something redeeming in here that I missed, and let me know. But we'll see you next time, Deadheads. Dead Fred out.